Madhava Kunda Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Yasodhanandana Braja Janarandana Yasodhanandana Braja Janarandana Yamunatiravanachari Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhatta Vrinda Yananda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhatta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhatta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rivo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitya Gaura Haribol, 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 Nitya Gaura Haribol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Gaura Premanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, chapter 4, text 7. Yes? Okay. Yathā gopāyati vibhur, yathā saṁyacchate punaḥ, yam yam śaktim upāśritya, puru-śaktiḥ pumān, ātmānaṁ krīḍayan, karoti vikaroti yathā gopāyati vibhur, yathā saṁyacchate punaḥ, yam yam śaktim upāśritya, puru-śaktiḥ pumān, ātmānaṁ krīḍayan, karoti vikaroti yathā gopāyati vibhur, yathā saṁyacchate punaḥ, yam yam śaktim upāśritya, puru-śaktiḥ pumān, ātmānaṁ krīḍayan, karoti vikaroti ca. Yathā gopāyati vibhur, yathā saṁyacchate punaḥ, yam yam śaktim upāśritya, puru-śaktiḥ pumān, ātmānaṁ krīḍayan, karoti vikaroti ca. vibhur, yathā saṁyacchate punaḥ, yam yam śaktim upāśritya, puru-śaktiḥ pumān, ātmānam krīḍayan karoti vikaroti ca. vibhur, yathā saṁyacchate śaktim upāśritya, ātmānam krīḍayan karoti vikaroti ca. yathā gopāyati vibhur, yathā saṁyacchate puru-śaktiḥ Mataji's. Yathā gopāyati vibhur, yathā saṁyacchate śaktim upāśritya, ātmānam krīḍayan yathā gopāyati yathā, as gopāyati, maintains, vibhuḥ, the great, yathā, as saṁyacchate, winds up, punaḥ, again, yam, as śaktim, energies, upāśritya, by employing, puru-śaktiḥ, the all-powerful, paraḥ, the supreme, pumān, personality of Godhead, ātmānaṁ, plenary expansion, krīḍayan, having engaged them, krīḍan, has also personally been engaged, karoti, does them, vikaroti, and causes to be done, cha, and. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada. Kindly describe how the Supreme Lord, who is all-powerful, engages his different energies and different expansion in maintaining and again winding up the phenomenal world in the sporting spirit of a player. Please repeat after me. Kindly describe how the Supreme Lord, who is all-powerful, engages different energies and different expansions in maintaining and again winding up the phenomenal world in the sporting spirit of a player. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In the Kaṭha Upaniṣad 2.2.13, the Supreme Lord is described as chief eternal being amongst all the other eternal individual beings. Nityo, nityānāṁ, cetanaś, cetanānām. And the one Supreme Lord who maintains innumerable other living entity, living being. Eko bahūnāṁ yo vivadati kāma. So, all living entity, both in the conditional state and in the liberated state, are maintained by the Almighty Supreme Lord. Such maintenance is effected by the Lord through his different expansions of the self and three principal energies, namely the internal, external, and marginal energy. The living entity are his marginal energy, and some of them, in the confidence of the Lord, are entrusted with the work of creation also, as are Brahma, Marichi, etc. And the act of creation are inspired by the Lord into them, tene Brahma Hridaya. The external energy, Maya, is also impregnated with the jivas, or conditioned soul. The unconditioned marginal potency act in the spiritual kingdom and the law of the Lord by its different plenary expansions, maintain them in different transcendental relations displayed in the spiritual sky. So the one Supreme Personality of Godhead manifests himself in many, bahūsham, and thus all diversities are in him. And his all diversity, although he is nevertheless different from all of them. That is the inconceivable mystic power of the Lord. And as such, everything is simultaneously one and different from him by his inconceivable potencies. Acintya-bhedābheda-tattva. I read again the translation. Kindly describe how the Supreme Lord, who is all-powerful, engages his different energy and different expansion in maintaining and again winding up the phenomenal world in a sporting spirit of a player. Omagyanatimirandasya ginanjan sakalaya chakshugurum lidhanmel tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasattade Satarine. Vanchakalpa Garubhyascha Kripasindubhyeva cha. Patidanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Shri Gaura Bhatta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So before making an attempt to speak on this wonderful sloka of the Srimad Bhagavatam, I would like to request the blessing of all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis so that I may speak something which is appealing to your heart with bhakti, with devotion. And also I'd like to pay my Sashtra Koti Dandavat to Srila Prabhupada to translate this book for the benefit of the whole world and the whole universe, because if it wasn't for Prabhupada, I don't think we'll be sitting here today together. Srila Prabhupada ki! So the purport, as our Srila Prabhupada said, these are my ecstasy and they are directly dictated by the Lord. Many times Srila Prabhupada used to read his own book. He said, which author read his own book? Because he wrote that book, so he knows everything. But Srila Prabhupada was reading his own book when he used to fly in the plane. Arisari Prabhu is telling that many times he carried the Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, and Prabhupada said, give me the Bhagavatam, and start to read. And the devotee was thinking, what? Prabhupada is reading his own book. He said, yes, I'm reading a book, you should read it too. This book is not just for selling the book, for making some money. This book are for the instruction by which we can develop bhakti and go back home, back to Godhead. So please do spend every day some of your time, valuable time, in reading Srila Prabhupada's book or listening to Srila Prabhupada's book. Now there is Bhaktivedanta Vedic Library, so you can listen to all Prabhupada books with purport. We also made an attempt to keep the devotee Kirtaniya Sadari. We have a radio station in Mayapur called Radio Mayapur, so you can hear bhajan, kirtan, and interview from different devotees. So you can also, while engage in different services, listen bhajan and kirtan, and so for your pleasure. So this is a wonderful sloka of the Srimad Bhagavatam. I think it's very important for all of us to understand how everything works. I mean, personally, I remember I was a child and I used to start gazing in the night and observing everything. And I used to remember asking my grandfather, you know, what is all the stars? What is happening? Who is living there? Who is living there? He said, oh, nobody. So then I used to think, what? It doesn't make sense. How can God create this whole universe and there is life only on one planet? There is nobody else. Everything is vacant. It looks strange, you know. And so by observing material nature, you know, we can start to slowly inquiring. And of course, when you go to school, you inquire. Even every week we have 1 hour of religion. I'm from Italy, in Rome, so we are Catholic. So the priest come and explain about the preaching of Jesus, which is very nice. And there are many portions where Jesus say, I am the Son of God. So when I ask the priest, sorry, but who is the Father of God? And he said, look, what do you mean? What he says, Jesus say, I am the Son of my Father. So who is the Father? Well, you have to have faith. It will be shown to you through faith. Okay. I was not very satisfied. But, you know, okay, I have faith. I understand Jesus was preaching nicely. But there were so many different things, you know. The 10 Commandments, Jesus said, thou shalt not kill, but then why we eat meat? Oh, it's okay, you know, Jesus did the multiplication of the bread and the fish.
What? Anyway, there were so many questions in my heart, in my mind, which eventually got completely clear when I met the devotees, you know. Because only through the devotee, Krishna revealed himself. And only through the devotee we can get the mercy by which we can understand how this universe works, how material nature works, how everybody is maintained. Because the scientists cannot have a glimpse of understanding. Everything was in molecules, then it began multiplied and expands. So from nothing, the Big Bang, and all these theories, they call it theories, the theory of evolution they teach in the school, doesn't make sense. There are so many holes. If the monkey, man is coming from monkey, so the monkey has evolved, now there is no more monkey, but the monkeys are there. So what? We don't see any monkey giving birth to human. We don't see any human giving birth to monkey. Well, sometimes a little bit, but it's okay. I mean, genetic modification and this and that, you know, they're trying to figure out everything, but they cannot. Why? And the Srimad Bhagavatam explained that there is descending knowledge and ascending knowledge. So they are going through the process of ascending knowledge, trying to, you know, figure out from the molecules, from the sand. Now there was a world, there was an asteroid who came and melted the ocean. The ocean covered the whole planet. That's why the mammoths were frozen. I mean, they speculate a lot. And every year there's a new theory. You know, every year they say, no, this was not correct. Maybe a little bit, but, you know, they keep on changing. Maybe after some time we'll discover a way by which we can go on Mars and live there. Hey, we cannot be happy in this material world. We're fighting wars since time immemorial. Now we're going to go there and fight there also. This is my planet. Why you're coming here? And then we're going to fight there. So it doesn't make sense. But so only the devotee have the understanding how this whole universe works. Why we are receiving knowledge from the Acharya? We are receiving knowledge from Krishna, who is the one who makes everything. I remember when I was young, I was so interested in mechanics. I used to take my grandfather's clock. It has to have two springs, you know. I don't know if you remember. One is for the alarm, and one every day you had to charge it so that the clock worked. So I used to take a screwdriver, open it, and say, wow, what a fantastic mechanism. Everything click, 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 and there is a spring. So I start to open one part and say, I'll put it back together, don't worry. My grandfather said, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just trying to understand how it works. I said, no, don't do that. You will never be able to put it back together. He said, no, I will. So I take all the parts apart, and I couldn't put it together, it's true. And my grandfather used to come and slap me in the hand and say, you stupid nonsense, why are you doing this? Then some other time I'll open a radio. Wow, radio, the sound is coming from this sound. Where is it coming from? There's a wave, this, that, no. Let me see. At the time the radio has valves, you remember? So now it's all electronic. You cannot open, there is a motherboard, it's all stick together. But at the time there were valves with the light inside. Wow, very amazing. So I used to open that one also, but I couldn't put it back together. Again, my father gave me a slap. Bang! What are you doing? You're destroying the house. You're destroying everything. Well, I want to understand how it works. Hey, listen, you know, don't do this. Sometimes I used to lock myself in the almirah with a light and a screwdriver so they don't find me. And when they don't find me around, they say, where is this guy? He's up to some damage. Then they find me. Oh, what are you doing? Opening a television or something. I was always opening something. So anyway, I was very eager to understand how, you know, the season come, the weather change. And I was thinking, there must be somebody that, you know, controls everything, you know. To the point that as I grew up, I had no answer until I met the devotee. I was thinking, oh, I'm crazy, man. Why I'm so crazy? Why I cannot understand? Only when I meet the devotee and they start to explain to me the Bhagavad Gita, there is God, there is a person, he has energies, and through his energy, everything, so it makes sense, you know. It's like a puzzle coming back together, and then you can get a picture. Wow, this makes sense, you know. And because I was in India for more than 1.5 years before I met the devotee, I met so many sadhus, so many babas, so many gurus. Each one speculate, Mayavadi, Sunyavadi, yogi, this, that. And so I was more confused than before. And I say, okay, go and visit the temple. You go Ganesh temple, they worship. Who is this? God. You go Durga, who is this? God. What? How can God? There's so many forms. What is going on? Shiva is God. Brahma is God. Indra is God. There are thousands of temples in India. And wherever you go, they're doing the arti and they're singing, Jai Jagadisha Re, Jaya Jai Jagadisha Re. And they give you prashana and they put some red stuff. More confused. Finally, when I meet the devotee and I ask questions to them, and they have all the questions, then I ask some other devotee. I was thinking maybe this guy knows something, but this other guy doesn't know anything, but he gives the same answer. Then I get another one, and they all have the same answer. I say, what book are you reading? He said, this one, Bhagavad Gita. Wow, what is this book? This is Krishna and the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and he explains everything. So then, luckily the Sankirtan party from Mayapur picked me up from Kathmandu in '79, and they brought me here in Mayapur. At the time there was nothing. It was all rice field everywhere. There was only the long building, and the and the conch building was the temple. Below the conch building there was Radha Madhava, and there was a main gate and a big kitchen. That's it. Prabhupada Bhajan Kutir was there. And it was all rice field everywhere. So the devotee say, you know what? I think you should study this book. I say, I think so also. So stay here with us for a few months. If you like, you can stay. If you want to go, you can go. We don't put a chain in your leg. You're free. I was scared. Is this a cult? Is this, they do some satanic stuff? What is going to happen to me? But I was not so scared because traveling in India 1.5 years, you see a lot of crazy things. So, and also I was in the army for 1 year, so I said, I'm strong, no problem. I can fight any of these guys. They're all small, no problem. So I stay here and start Bhagavad Gita, start to study with Madhusavita Prabhu and Satvik and many other devotees. Durgama is still there. Durgama was my new bhakta teacher, leader, teaches Bhagavad Gita sloga. And then you start to do service and chanting. The experience of chanting itself, it's undeletable from my mind and from my heart. The first day I started to chant, I felt great happiness coming from my heart. And I chant only 8 rounds. They say you have to chant 16 rounds. I said, what? So I chant 16 rounds the next day. Great happiness in my heart. I was feeling I'm in the right place, with the right people at the right time. So let me try this new experience, studying Bhagavad Gita and Vedic scriptures and understanding myself, the science of self-realization, try to understand myself, try to understand what is my relationship with God, what is my relationship with nature, what is my relationship with other living entity, what's the ultimate goal of life. This was the main things because I could observe people. They were rich, poor, this, that, but they become old, they get married, they have kids, and they die. So it doesn't make sense, I was thinking. God would not create a life without any meaning, or meaningless working like a donkey to get something and then lose everything. It didn't make sense. No. There must be something higher to find out the truth. And so I found it by the blessing of the Vaishnavas. When I went back, before I came to India, I was asking my grandfather, okay, you've been in the Second World War, you've been in prisoner of the British in Addis Ababa, Africa. What's the story? What's life all about? He said, I don't know, man. You have to find out. You find out. So, okay. That was instruction. But he said two things, I can tell you. Don't run after woman. Don't run after money. I said, what? Everybody likes these things. He said, yes, but there is no need. I said, what do you mean? Number one, there are more women than men, so don't worry. Someone is going to catch you. I said, okay. What about money? He said, people work so hard, this, that, but it doesn't matter. Whatever you're supposed to get, God will give you. Well, he was a pious person, right? And he said, you know, I asked him, how can I be happy if I don't search for these things? Everybody's looking for this. He said, you know, the only happy people is that whatever God is giving to them, they're satisfied with that, and they're happy. Because more you have, more you want. You have one bicycle, you want two bicycles. You have one motorbike, you want two motorbikes. You have one car, you want two cars. You have one wife, you want two wives. So I said, just relax. God will give you everything, whatever you need. And if you're satisfied with whatever God gives you, then you're happy. So, okay, it sounds good. That was a good instruction, you know. So, here we read in Srimad Bhagavatam, you know, bahūnāṁ, the Lord becomes many because He wants to enjoy with the living entity. We cannot love myself alone. We can be eccentric, self-centered, but if we are alone, we give you $1 million, we put you in a room and say, okay, enjoy. Yeah, how much can you enjoy alone? So love means a relationship. So Krishna wants to enjoy the relationship with all living entity, and therefore he becomes many, and then he engages some living entity like Brahma and other powerful, pure soul to control those energies. So everything we see is controlled by different demigods. 33 millions, yes? 33 millions? 33 crores is 33 million? How much is it? Huh? Millions. 33 million is demigod. There's a demigod control the blinking of the eyes. There are so many demigods. So, but if we please Krishna, all the demigods are happy. Just like when we put water in the root of the tree, the whole tree gets nourished. When we put food in our mouth and we chew it and digest, the whole body gets nourished. Similarly, Krishna is the sarva karana karanam, the cause of all causes. So if we please Him, then all the demigods are happy. We owe no responsibility or no to demigods, to the forefather, to everybody else. But of course, we still act within the varnashram system, and we try to be situated with a firm conviction that the Lord is the maintainer of every living entity. So the Lord maintained the elephants, millions of elephants, maintained the ants, maintained us. So why the Lord will not maintain somebody who is trying to understand Him, is chanting His name, devoting his life with bhakti to please Him? Because this process of bhakti is how we can develop love by which we can please Krishna, by which we can go back to our original position, to the spiritual world. So the Lord has a special care. Although the Lord is not against anybody, and in the form of Paramatma in everybody's heart, whether it's blade, a fish, a tree, a cockroach, demigods, Brahma, but He takes personal care of the devotees who are trying to develop sincere and honest, unalloyed love for Him. So we should have this firm conviction in our heart that whatever the Lord is sending to me, whatever is happening to me, it's for me to learn a new lesson. maybe bad things will come. The devotee thinks, okay, this is my karma, but how can I learn from this experience? And maybe good things will come. The devotee accept them, engage everything in the service of the Lord. So the devotee is always eager to see Krishna everywhere. And whatever is happening to the devotee connect that with Krishna and think, okay, now you want me to learn what? How to be more humble, how to be more tolerant, or whatever. So the devotee has this firm understanding of bhakti inside his consciousness. Now, many scientists, they're trying to discover consciousness, but they're very far away. There is some scientist who is coming to Bombay, to our Bhaktivedanta Institute. Rasaraj Prabhu was telling me they are coming and studying Srimad Bhagavatam because they understand that it's futile to go and try to figure out things. So they understand that in Srimad Bhagavatam there is a great scientific explanation of how everything works, especially the fifth canto, the planet, the distance, the energy of the Lord. So few of them are making a sincere attempt to understand the truth. Otherwise, Prabhupada is very harsh. He called them rascal. All the scientists, they're all rascal. Cheater and cheated. Yes, we'll make this. So they give you a post-dated check. Okay, after a few years we will figure it out. We'll understand. We'll make a pill by which you can become eternal. You don't have to die anymore. Please give us $500 million. We will develop the pills. And some rich people think, okay, maybe it's true, Let's give the money to this guy. And this guy, they just eat, drink, and go marry. They'll never figure out anything. Then only so far what Prabhupada said, they invented the atomic bomb of destruction, but they can't make a pill or they cannot make medicine by which people can become healthy. Even this so-called medicinal institution, pharmaceutical, is a multi-billion, trillion dollar. They only make money if people get sick. So anyway, that's another things we don't want to go into there. But for the devotee, they live a simple life and they dedicate their energy, their heart, their love for pleasing Krishna. And we can only please Krishna if we work under the direction of the spiritual master, if we work under the direction of devotees. No one can go alone himself in Himalaya and say, okay, I'm going to chant 64 rounds, I'm going to be very austere, I'm going to go back home, back to God. It's not going to work. Some people try also. Yeah, they couldn't make it. So the association of the devotees is the only thing which can save us from all misfortune. So Mayapur is such a wonderful place by which we can come and perform devotional service and be helped by all the other devotees, and we can make rapid spiritual advancement. So in this purport, of course, Prabhupada mentioned many points, and as we study the Srimad Bhagavatam, everything becomes revealed to us. In different way, because each devotee has some particular desire to understand Krishna, how he acts, how he is playing. Here he's in a sportive mood. He creates the universe, then he winding him back, not big deal for Krishna. The living entity goes back into Mahavishnu, and then when Brahma wake up again manifest, and they liberate the soul, they are always liberated. We are the marginal energy, tatastha shakti. We can choose material, spiritual, it's our choice. That's the beauty of Krishna consciousness. Every second of our life, we have a choice. We can choose to serve Krishna, we can choose to serve ourselves, we can choose to be Maya, we can choose to be Krishna consciousness. So it's our own free will and our choice. So if we want to remain Krishna consciousness, we are chanting Hare Krishna. This is the prescribed, duty for this age. And of course, Prabhupada, in the end, he said the inconceivable mystical potency of the Lord. Acintya-bhedābheda. So this is Lord Chaitanya has wrote so much. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat. And common people cannot understand what is this mystical potency. God is same and different. It's very, difficult to understand. But the devotee can understand how the Lord is supreme. At the same time, he manifests in so many different ways, in so many different forms, in so many different colors, in so many different age. But one thing we have to understand as a devotee, that the Lord loves us more than we love him. He sends the acharya. In South India, the alwars, who are the expansion of his alankar. He sent the devotees different times. Himself come 500 years ago as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all his associates. So he really feel like, please come back to the spiritual world. Please come back to Vaikuntha. Please come back to Golok Vrindavan and be happy in the spiritual world with me, like a loving father. So, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I'd like to stop here. We have a few minutes for question and answer or comments. Please be free. Yes, Mataji.
Thank you for such an enlivening class, Prabhu. As you were speaking about your experiences, and then you shared that how the association of devotees made everything clear, I was thinking about what a blessing you have shared with us, that this is what we tend to forget or take for granted. So thank you very much for that. I have a question regarding God's care for us. You said God provides, God takes care of his devotees. But when we are going through trials and tribulations and difficulties, it's very hard to understand what God is trying to teach us. So could you please share some wisdom with us?
Sure. I think that we all going through this, up and down. See, the difference between devotees and the karmis or jnani or yogi is that the jnani, karmi, yogi, they are under the modes of material nature, but the devotee, they are directly under the influence of the Lord. So if you think that we are going through harsh time, but just imagine the Pandavas. Krishna was there, but the Pandavas went through such a horrible time. And what about Prahlad Maharaj? He's a kid. He's only 5 years old. And he's loving Krishna. He never say, Krishna, why are you doing this to me? What's the story? So, in retrospect, when we learn Haridas Thakur being beaten, Jesus Christ put on the cross, our minuscule troubles, they're very insignificant. We should thank the Lord. Thank you, my Lord. You give me some trouble so I can become more humble, I become more sincere, I become more dedicated. And by the association of devotee, I can overcome this. See, nothing lasts forever in the material world. Everything changes all the time. So if we are attached, Krishna will maybe test us, give us a tough time. Are you really want to become a devotee? You can become Brahma, Indra, you can become a multimillionaire, you can become whatever. But you really want this or you want this? So at one point in your life, you have to make a choice. Unconditional surrender means whether you embrace me or you don't appear before me, still you're my Lord. That's the six shastakam. That's what we learn. So we have to learn to become a bit tolerant, knowing that the Lord is teaching us. We have to be a little introspective. Zoom out and think, okay, now this happened to me. Why did I fall down with a bicycle and scrape my knee? I could have turned on the right. I could have started 1 minute before. I could have, when you have an accident, all these things come in your mind. Why me? I am a devotee of God, the Lord, Krishna. Krishna, why are you doing this to me? Look at my knee. It's all scrap and blood is coming out. So there are two ways to understand. One is that, okay, when you switch off the fan still turns for some time. So you're supposed to lose your leg. You only got a scrap. Krishna minimize and say, thank you, my Lord. Okay, I don't walk for a few days. I can chant extra round, whatever. I can take darshan from my phone. And please remove all these obstacles from me. And so I can become more fixed in devotional service. What do you think?
Thank you. Very nice. Thank you very much.
So, but it's very little, Eventually, whatever happened to us, we take it as a blessing of the Lord and we move on. We are spirit soul, the eternal servant.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Where are you? Oh, okay.
My question is, in my logic, somehow it makes sense when devotees suffer, because devotees really want to work on themselves. So they see it as an opportunity to improve their lives and to clean their hearts. But I don't understand one thing. Why does Krishna give free will to those innocent people who suffer so much, but it seems like they never really have the desire to change their heart and to understand why they suffer? Because Krishna is all-loving. Krishna is all-knowing. So if he knows that these living entities will misuse their free will, why is he giving his free will to them?
Well, one way to understand this is that Krishna will not force us to love him. Just like your father and mother do not force you to love them. But if you have a nice relationship with them, you'll love them. But at one point, I remember I was, very young and, very independent, stubborn. So I said to my mother and father, you know what, I'm going to go traveling, I want to be independent. My father and mother say, look, okay, whatever you do, use your brain. We are here, we love you, whatever you do, wherever you go, you can always come back, and we'll still unconditional love. So, would have been a different story if my father would lock me in a room? You remember the story of Raghunath, yeah? Raghunath was very rich. The father and mother wanted to be there in a home. He wanted to run away and go and meet Lord Chaitanya, then marry him, a beautiful wife, but he had no material interest. So the Lord will never force us to do something against our own free will. Why give us free will? Because only through free will we can love the Lord. If I come with a machine gun to you and say, you must love me, will you love me? I'll kill you if you don't. So, God is not like that, Krishna wants to sport with you, wants to have a relationship with you of love. So he will give us free will. But the people in the material world, they don't even know, they are not interested in God, they just suffer because they are through the three modes of material nature. It's like a washing machine, You go through the washing machine, you go tumble up and down, boom, 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 spinning. 600 RPM per hour, per minute. And then sometimes you get spit out and say, I'm broken, man. Okay, you want to try to be independent, you want to try to go in the material world, you try to enjoy your spirit, your material life, but you get beaten up. And those intelligent people get beaten up, they think, okay, man, that's enough. How many millions of lifetime I've been beaten up, by the three modes of material nature. So if you surrender to Krishna, then Krishna takes care of you, and you overcome the three modes of material nature, being situated on a transcendental platform, and then you start to develop this rasa or love with Krishna. Of course, the devotees are paradukha dukhi. They feel miserable when they see people suffering. The war, famine, people without money, people without house, people with, in the hospital. Devotees they are not callous. Devotees feel like, wow, why is so much suffering, my Lord? How can I help these people? Therefore, we're going to distribute books, we're going to distribute prasadam, we're going to counseling people, and we try to help everybody. But the solution to all this is not just a material situation. It's go back home, back to God. So, but people that have to start to inquire. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. And then, who is the fortunate soul who is traveling through millions of universes, who can get the association of the devotee, and by the mercy of Krishna and Guru gets, the seed of bhakti planted in his heart, so he can go back home, back to God. That's what we're trying to do. We feel pain for everybody, but we're trying to deliver them from ignorance. Ignorance is bliss, yeah? Don't care anything. Oh, I'm enjoying. Oh, I'm in Miami, I have a nice house, I have a nice car, I have a nice girlfriend, I have money, I'm successful. God, who cares about God, right? But when the person loses everything, they start to think, what? How come, 2 months ago I was there, now I'm in the street, under the tree. So, the thing is that devotees are not callous, they're trying to be merciful to everybody, and we're going out and distribute, Harinam, distribute the holy name. Even the demon, they hear the holy name, they become purified. It's called acintya-bhedābheda-tattva. And with those sincere souls, we can try to distribute book, give prasadam. Everybody likes prasadam, so everybody has to eat, can eat this. So does this answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Prabhu. It was really wonderful to hear some of your personal stories. We really appreciated you sharing so much. I was thinking a little on similar terms as Mataji here, and I was reflecting as well. We were discussing in our Bhakti Shastri class about this free will concept, and how free will really doesn't express until we come to the mode of goodness, right? We're not actually making choices, because when we're in the mode of passion and ignorance, we're just being tossed, like you said, the washing machine, yeah. So I'm wondering, like, in your life, in your experience, have you come across people who, because you're talking about being inquisitive, right? This verse is speaking on that. People who, and that you were very inquisitive, like from birth. So some people, in the same way, kind of connecting those dots, some people naturally, or they're already on that platform of goodness where they're able to like make choices, inquire, like, okay, I've kind of gotten swept around, now I'm here, but for people who aren't, we have this compassion and we want to extend mercy. Can you give maybe some example in your life that you've seen someone who was in those modes make that switch of, oh wow, like let me inquire, like how can I actually take control over my life instead of just being driven by the modes?
Thank you. Very important, very nice question. And number one, I want to say that what you said in the beginning, that even though you are influenced by passion and ignorance, still you have a little free will. Because let's say we take a plane and we are flying from Calcutta to Delhi, I can be so crazy, I take a pencil and go and stab somebody. That's my free will. No one is forcing me because I'm influenced by passion, ignorance, drug, whatever it is. So we still, even within the three modes of material nature, we can choose at one point. We go with that, drive left, drive right, to where I want to go. And the other part of the question is that I am the proof of the mercy of the devotee, because I saw the devotee in 74. We were sitting in Rome in one place where there is no car, and you see the devotee entering, chanting and dancing, and I said, who are these people, you know? They're wearing a bedsheet, they're shaved up, they're dancing and singing, they have a mark in front of the forehead. They look crazy, but they come in front of us. One lady came with a basket with Mahaprasada, give us prasada. And we took it and we said, wow, this is so good. Can you give me one more? I said, yeah, please take. Do I need to pay anything? No, it's free. And then there they go, chanting again. I remember telling my friends, I said, look, I don't know which planet this guy comes from. I don't know what species they are, but they're good. They're singing, they're happy, they're dancing, and they're giving free food to everybody. Come on. They're good people. After that, I didn't see them, but I reconnect with them in 79. So it takes a little prasadam, you know, to change the heart of people. Maybe it takes some few years, maybe take a few lifetimes. We are eternal beings. So if you give a morsel of prasadam, there are many stories. How in the Puranas, you know, there was a rat who was very hungry in the night. He goes in the temple, there's a lamp, but somehow, you know, he moved the lamp so the light came more. But then when he died, because he did the service for the Lord, he took a human form or became something. So the thing is that very little can help the misdirected life of people who are sinful in the material world, and they have no clue. So sometimes the only thing you can do is just give them some prasada. You say, take a book, I'm not interested. You say, give a donation, I don't want to give you anything. You say, come to the temple, who cares? You say, okay, it's my uncle's birthday, please take this sweet. You don't have to tell this prasadam, because if you say it's prasadam, you say, bleh, prasadam. What is prasadam? It's food offered to God. I don't want it. I want nothing to do with God. So, you know, so sometimes people just touch the book. Even the touching the Prabhupada say, even they read one word. You know, if they read the book, they give you back, no, I'm not interested. Okay, no problem. So, but carry some prasada with you. And you can always tell a white lie. Yesterday was my uncle's birthday, and that's a nice sweet. Would you like to take one? Okay, that's it. His life is sealed. Whether a few years, a few lifetime, he'll go back home, back to God. He'll connect with the body again. Does this answer your question? I think it's 9 o'clock. Yes, our in charge has come to remind us that time is over. But we are still 1 minute before 9 according to this clock, okay? Don't get in my case. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki.